again! This week I'm trying vintage beauty hacks from old Hollywood stars. This week I re-entered the Pinterest rabbit hole of looking at old photos of some of my favorite old Hollywood actresses and admiring them for their ethereal vintage beauty. And I want a piece of that. So I've gathered a collection of tips, makeup hacks, skincare, and we'll put together a vintage inspired look based on all these tips and tricks. And we're going to start with a bit of skincare. To start off this vintage beauty journey, we are going to prepare our skin, and I'll be doing that by making an exfoliator that Katharine Hepburn apparently swore by, which was a mix of lemon juice, olive oil, and sugar. Pretty simple. I know a lot of people don't recommend lemon juice for skin care, but my skin doesn't mind it too much. I quite like it. So to each their own. Let's see how this goes. I am a messy person. Oh, and that lemon juice really illuminates where you have little scratches from playing with your cat. Ow! But either way, let's get this on our face. Let me add some more lemon juice actually, because it really smells like I am making a pesto with the olive oil in it. And this feels pretty nice, actually. For this next step in the process of washing this off, I'm taking a page out of Joan Crawford's book, and I'll be rinsing my face with ice cold water. And now I've put this in the freezer since this morning so you can see the condensation. It is cold. I think I'm gonna wipe it off with a face cloth, otherwise this will just drip right down my face. Oh, that is cold though. Oh, wow. Oh, it does feel quite nice though. What do you think? Does my skin look more awake and bright? I think it kind of does. And now we're gonna slap ourselves in the face. According to Lupino, she would slap the back of her hand against her jawline to increase tightness. Is my jawline cut for the gods yet? With the skincare out of the way, it is time to get to the fun part, and that is testing out the makeup hacks of old Hollywood stars. You might be thinking, Salinda, this is a vintage beauty video. Wouldn't it be a great time to do a vintage hair set? Now, I also had that idea, but last night I forgot my years of training and thought, I think I'm going to try a true wet set. And it failed. So we're going more casual in the hair department today, because I had to brush it all through with water. We're going to start this next part with some Vaseline. Now, we're gonna see this a few times because Vaseline was all the rage. And everyone was using it, including Marilyn Monroe, who used it for many things. But one of her favorite uses was as a primer, and she used it not sparingly at all. She would slap that junk onto her face. So I'm going to do the same thing. It does feel kind of heavy though, as a primer compared to what I normally use. Now I'm going to apply my foundation and eyebrows as I normally would, just because I wasn't able to find any specific foundation or brow hacks. So I'm just gonna do my own thing. I have to say that Vaseline primer I think actually worked really well. Well, of course, see how it settles in, but I feel like I got a really good coverage. I'm actually pretty impressed, and you can definitely still see the like dewiness underneath. I don't know if that's a look that works for me. I'm already a pretty oily gal. We're going to move on to blush next. Apparently, Grace Kelly was famous for using 2 shades of blush to create an ombre effect to get a better contour. Now, I am not a contour queen. I'm pretty bad at it, but I do love me some blush, and I use blush all the time. So let's see if we can make something work. I think I'm gonna start with the lighter blush first to get a good base. And now going in with my darker shade to create a little bit more depth under the cheeks. Maybe I've just never gotten into contouring because I just have no real cheekbone action. It's pretty flat there. And I just feel like a contour sometimes can look a bit silly on my face. Do I like the two-tone blush? Yes. Do I think I look like Grace Kelly? Nah. Now I'm just going to let that all absorb and set while I do my brows quickly. Just brushing my brows up is pretty easy because of the Vaseline on my face. It's like a already built-in brow pomade. Now we're going back to my girl Marilyn and my pal Vaseline, and we're going to put a few dabs more of Vaseline on our cheekbones because Marilyn Monroe would also use this as a bit of a highlight. It's pretty hard for me to distinguish the Vaseline on top versus the base underneath because still looking dewy. So I can't say that one did very much. This next tip I feel is very indicative of old Hollywood. It's kind of an old-fashioned beauty standard or beauty tip that doesn't really matter today or doesn't get repeated very often today, and that is matching your lipstick to your nails. Now I have the perfect lipstick and nail polish combo for this, and that is because I have Besame Cosmetics Victory Red, which was a 1940s shade, and they made it in both a nail polish and a lipstick. So I put on a coat last night on my fingernails, and I'm gonna line my lips just a little bit, and then put on my matching lips. Oh, apparently this tip was especially championed by Jane Russell. Now this next part I am the most excited for, and is actually what inspired me to do this whole video. I saw Erin Parsons Makeup on TikTok showing this beauty hack, and it just threw me down this rabbit hole of vintage beauty tricks. And that is how to get Marlene Dietrich's smoky eye. Marlene Dietrich has one of my favorite classic looks. She just has such stunning features. Though I won't be trying her other hack, which is how she enhanced her cheekbones, which is by getting her molars removed, but I will be using her Soot and Vaseline smoky eye trick. Now what she would do is she would take a candle and a saucer and get some soot from the flame on the saucer, let it cool, mix it with Vaseline, put it on the eyelids. Let's see if this works. So you can see I now have some soot on my plate. I've let that cool, and now I'm going to mix it with the miracle product of Golden Age Hollywood, Vaseline of course. He has made me weak. He has made me bold and bold. I might try blending it a bit with my brush, just because it is pretty unwieldy, this. As you can see, it is very subtle. Wow, my face is so shiny. It's just caked in Vaseline. I'm not sure how buildable it is. I tried doing 2 layers, but I don't look as good as Erin Parsons Makeup. That's for sure. Moving on in the eye makeup department, and we're back to my girl Marilyn. And one of the things she's known for is using white eyeliner on her lower waterline. Now, a lot of people I know associate this technique more with the 60s look, but even though we think of Marilyn Monroe as this 50s vintage bombshell icon, she was actually very modern in her times and was always pushing the boundary of fashion and aesthetics, so it really doesn't surprise me that she was on the white eyeliner trend before it really sort of took off. And this one is a favorite of high school Salinda as well. love this trick. It does work. It makes your eyes look bigger and brighter. And finally, in our eye look, we're going to take a tip from Audrey Hepburn. Now, Audrey is of course known for her big, beautiful eyelashes, but the way she got that look is a little bit dubious. I mean, I'm sure most of it is good genetics, but she would take a pin to physically separate her lashes. Now, I'm not going to put a pin next to my eye, but I am going to put some tweezers there to try to separate the eyelashes a bit. Don't try this at home. Get a little spoolie, but I don't have one. And to be super safe, I'm going to get my jumbo mirror, try to separate my lashes that are clumped together, which may or may not have Vaseline on them. I do see what she means. You can tell the difference, but it is super fiddly. I can see why she would use a pin because it is, you sort of need to be that precise to get them separated. But let's slap some mascara on there and see if I notice any difference. I do notice I feel less resistance in my spoolie. Once again, is that just because I'm covered in Vaseline? Actually, with a second coat, my eyelash is looking really poppin'. I actually think that looks really good. Yeah, I think the eyelashes look pretty good. Separating them is so tedious. Oh my gosh. But there you have it. That is all the beauty tips and tricks I was able to source that were interesting enough to make a video. I think what surprises me the most is the Vaseline, and not just the copious amount of it, but how good it works as a primer when you want a dewy base. And I think my makeup looks really good on top of it. So I will definitely be using that trick a bit more when I want to go for these like softer, dewier looks. I would love to know your thoughts. Are you going to try any of these yourself? Are you on your local drugstore's website right now ordering a big tub of Vaseline? Because you'll need it. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you could like it. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe. I upload new videos every Friday. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye! We'll be very excited to expand my Vaseline usage. Why can't I say that word? Usage.